All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Joseph Morris live stream. Just a really quick update on particular timelines. So the Bertolino lawyer, who was a real estate agent, and he keeps getting some dates wrong, but it's not necessarily his fault because, you know, they are listening to the Laundrie family. So just a little quick update on my channel. It's often reported around here that Brian actually went for a hike on September 14th. That date is wrong, folks. You heard it here first. That date is wrong. He did not go hiking on September 14th. He actually went hiking on September 13th. So let's read the lawyer's statement real fast right here. So Brian Laundrie's attorney now tells us that the family last saw Brian on Monday, September 13th, instead of Tuesday, September 14th. He tells us the Laundries were mistaken on what occurred on September 13th and September 14th. And he adds, had to clarify some items with FBI and now agree on dates. So this is like a really big news because there has been rumors floating around online forever about how the Mustang was apparently in the Florida Reserve for 2 days. So if you went hiking on the 14th, that means the Mustang was returned the 16th. However, the Mustang was seen in the driveway on September 15th. So as we all know, the camera doesn't lie. You know, it looks like the Laundries actually have the opposite happening to them. They remember things more as time goes on. So very, very funny that this is now an update. So let me just try to gather my media here. So the Mustang, this is a big mystery on this channel. So they actually have the Mustang in the driveway on the 15th, and I can pull up that image real fast right here. It's quite funny. So, you know, if he was missing for you know, since the 14th, and they waited 2 days to get the Mustang back, how is it that the car is in the driveway on the 15th? You know, the camera doesn't lie here. It says, you know, a lot of people pointed that out, that the Mustang was there a day early, and, you know, again, the lawyer keeps messing things up. So, you know, the Laundries aren't talking immediately to the public. They're actually talking through their lawyer. I confirmed today that this is indeed not just Brian Laundrie's lawyer. That is something that was a rumor, again, spread around very early, and I actually latched onto that. This was Brian Laundrie's lawyer. It's actually the family's lawyer. So let's just start. I'm going to start correcting myself on that. It's the family's lawyer. So they're not speaking directly to the public, to the media, to the and they're only speaking through their lawyer. So we're just kind of getting bits and pieces from this, you know, case through different sources. And one of the sources that we had today was none other than Miss Cassie Laundrie. Well, Mrs. Cassie Laundrie. She was, you know, I thought her interview was like a movie scene. Just seeing them on the front lawn looked more like an SNL skit than anything else. But it was real. It was a real event. And basically, it did actually corroborate a lot of the rumors. So a rumor on this channel was that there was a storage locker involved. We didn't know the particular dates. Cassie Laundrie, in her ABC interview way back weeks ago, did spill the beans a bit that Brian Laundrie flew back in the middle of his cross-country trip to go help empty out a storage locker. In fact, it was a storage unit back in those days, but we just got clarification that it was a storage locker, which is a lot smaller than a storage unit. So let's just play that clip in case you want to refresh your memory a little bit. Here we go.
I'm in the boat where I'm getting ignored by my family and thrown under the bus by my family's attorney.
Why would he do that? Like, why?
Protect his client, because she's not their client.
So I'm just as mad.
Did they have a storage shed, Gabby, and
They had a storage locker.
Brian, do you know where it was?
I have no idea.
Do you know if what date your brother flew back, that your dad paid for the plane?
Didn't even know he paid for the plane.
Did he fly back?
Yes,
From
he flew back.
like around like what, the 17th or something?
Put it into their house.
Around like the 17th or something,
Yeah.
after the fight.
He got here on the 17th. I don't know what day he left.
Did you see him on that trip?
Yes.
What was discussed? Anything? Was he discussed about?
They were talking. He was telling me where they were going next. I FaceTimed with Gabby and the kids on that trip. I mean,
Did he say he got in a fight with Gabby? He didn't talk about that incident?
Just was a surprise to us too.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't think she was supposed to say anything about the storage unit. So now what does the lawyer do in that scenario? He tries to get ahead of the story. So that's something that the Bertolino and the Laundries do, is that they try to get ahead of the story. You know, when something happens, they have to go and they have to prove it. So that happened with the Mustang, and now this is happening with the storage locker. I just got a nice little super chat. I can't read all your messages as I'm talking here. I generally try to read it at the start of my show and at the end, but I do see the super chats. Thank you so much. I will be contributing to the Gabby Petitio Foundation.org, so thank you for all your contributions. There's 2 white vans, Sarah writes. The previous one on Cassie's Drive had arrows on the hood. On the later footage, van on Cassie's Drive looks to have a rectangle on. I will look into that. That is very interesting information. Again, this is a safe space on my channel. We can discuss theories. I love going through your comments and reading them and following through on them. I get a lot of cool comments that way. Strange, thank you so much. I believe Cassie for now that she didn't know anything and that her family is throwing her on the bus, for now at least. I agree. You know what? When I first saw Cassie's interview, I was like, oh, she's playing a victim. Thank you so much, Strange. She's playing a victim, but now I'm starting to feel like, you know, she's not playing the victim. She's actually being truthful. She's being authentic. She's being herself. You know, actually the people who were the protesters out front were basically saying, you know, let's leave you alone. Thank you so much for speaking to the public. We really, really appreciate that. You know, and I would have to agree. Cassie, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Belva Ventura. You guys are so sweet. I'm not expecting that, and I really, really appreciate it. You know, just the fact that anybody is actually watching me right now is kind of crazy. So really, really, really appreciate it. So this is next one, the Cassie statement. So because of Cassie, we have this new timeline. You know, we're slowly getting bits and pieces out. So this is the updated timeline. August 17th, Cassie says Brian flew back to Florida without Gabby for a visit. She says she saw Brian and also FaceTime with Gabby. Okay, so that is the new timeline, August 17th. This is what the lawyer was trying to get ahead. And let's just read the lawyer statement because I find it very interesting to look at this statement. So the attorney statement says this. And, you know, this is an attorney statement. It's very, very, in my opinion, slimy. So it goes... and I need to clear my throat. Brian flew home to Tampa from SLC, which is Salt Lake City, on August 17th and returned to Salt Lake City on August 23rd to rejoin Gabby. To my knowledge, Brian and Gabby paid for the flights as they were sharing expenses. Okay, flag that. It says sharing expenses. So what is it about that statement that's a little bizarre and leading is that they shared expenses. What is Brian Laundrie on for an indictment? He's wanted for bank card fraud. So is that a defense that the lawyer is going to be using to, you know, defend Brian in court? Oh, we shared expenses, so therefore he's allowed to use the bank card. No. You as a dead person cannot give consent to use the bank card. Thank you so much, Austin Schaefer. Appreciate your channel. Listen to my AirPods at work and in the car. Makes my commute fly by. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate all the positive self-affirmations. Again, really appreciate that. We'll be contributing to the Gabby Petitio Foundation.org. So I thank you for all your contributions. So Brian flew home to obtain some items and empty and close the storage unit to save money as they contemplated extending the road trip. So this is a very bizarre statement. You know, it's even more bizarre than the first statement because if we're looking at how they're using this as an excuse because he wanted to save money. Let's take a look at that for a second. I researched some storage lockers in the Northport, Florida area. The most expensive one I found was $75. So how is it that you're going to buy a round trip ticket and also pay for a hotel? And that's cheaper than, you know, emptying a storage unit? That makes no sense. Was a storage unit $1,000 a month? No, it wasn't. It was maximum $75. You spent more money getting round trip tickets and a hotel for Gabby. to empty that storage unit. So the hotel for Gabby, she stayed at the Fairview Inn in Salt Lake City. It's kind of like a middle of the road hotel. So around, and it was for a week. She stayed in that hotel for a week. So let's just say $100 a night, $700 plus the round trip ticket. We're looking at $1,200 to do this flight, this trip back to Florida from August 17th to August 23rd. So how is it that that is more cost effective than paying for a storage unit? Answer, it's not. We smell a rat. We smell a rat. So this is where it gets a little bit crazy. Why would he say that? Obviously, he wants to get ahead of the, story that Cassie spilled the beans out. Brian's sister found out she isn't the fave child. Yeah, Cassie, she's kind of the black sheep of the family. In that interview, she did basically say that she's been excommunicated by her family members. So she is the black sheep of the family, and she's basically throwing them under the bus because if you remember, the attorney threw her under the bus. The attorney were the ones that basically spilled the beans, so to speak, that she saw Brian Laundrie. And I was the one that actually ended up creating all these videos about how Cassie lied was the headline. And all these other headlines around the globe created those same ones because it did look like she lied. She tried to get ahead of the story and clarify it. So let's listen to her Good Morning America spiel. Very, very insightful. And something that I really wanted to talk about was potentially that indeed, she is insinuating that the Laundrie parents know more than they do. So let's look at the Good Morning America interview and listen to what she says at the very, very end of this clip. It's pretty crazy.
No, I do not know where Brian is. I'd turn him in.
Overnight, Cassie Laundrie attempting to set the record straight, speaking out for the first time since Gabby Petitio's body was found and her brother Brian was reported missing. Later named a person of interest in Petitio's murder and wanted by the FBI in a fraud investigation.
I really wish he had come to me first that day with the van because I don't think we'd be here. I worry about him. I hope he's okay. And then I'm angry and I don't know what to think. I would tell my brother to just come forward and get us out of this horrible mess.
And now detailing the last time she saw her brother.
The last time I physically saw it and the last time I physically spoke to my brother was on the 6th. I've tried to get in touch with him, phone went to voicemail.
Cassie sharing this photo exclusively with ABC News, showing Brian and his 5-year-old nephew camping at Fort DeSoto Park with their parents 5 days before Gabby was reported missing.
We just went for a couple of hours and we ate dinner and had s'mores around the campfire and left. And there was nothing peculiar about it. There was no feeling of grand goodbye. There was nothing. I'm frustrated that in hindsight, I didn't pick up on anything. It was just a regular visit.
By the time Gabby was found 13 days later, Brian had already vanished. The day Cassie learned of his disappearance, she says she immediately told investigators about that camping trip.
It was not hidden from law enforcement. I've been cooperating with the police since day one. I've been in touch with law enforcement.
And now she's calling on her parents to do the same.
Justice for Gabby would look like having someone come forward and tell the truth. I don't know if my parents are involved. I think if they are, then they should come clean.
Cassie says her brother has taken multiple trips for up to 5 days at a time on the Appalachian Trail, where multiple tips have been reported.
Yeah, so as you can see there, thank you so much, Katie Barboza. So this is the exact same news station, ABC, where she did the first interview where she said, I never talked to Brian. And then the attorney threw her on the bus and said that you did talk to Brian September 1st through September 6th when you went on that campground. So again, just to clarify there, Brian went to Cassie's home September 1st, and then they separated or whatever. Brian came to her home in a Mustang. And then on September 6th, Cassie linked up with the Laundrie family at Fort DeSoto campground. So basically, the ABC interview was basically said, oh, you did talk to Brian. You are basically lying to the world. So this new interview is also by ABC. She's talking to the same people again. And she's basically trying to clear the air. Katie writes, just joined and wanted to make sure you knew that ABC News talked to Cassie, posted 3 hours ago. It seems very sincere. She says a lot. Yes, I agree with you. She does seem very sincere on this. I'm very, very happy she did. Maybe Cassie's getting paid for the interview. Sarah Jane writes, you know, we just have this kind of bias about the Laundries. We have the court of public opinion, and then we have the real actual courts. And in the court of public opinion, I think we just all see them as the dirty Laundries. And if they just spoke up from the start, there wouldn't be this much issues. You know, the taxpayers of America are the ones paying for the search right now in the Florida Reserve that, you know, is on its like third week and there's been no results. It's been scaled back a lot. In fact, there's been rumors today that, you know, the search is over and is back open to the public. Those have been squashed. They're still actually searching in that area. It's just been really scaled back, and they haven't found anything. So who's on the hook for that cost? $200,000 a day. Maybe it's a little bit now more of a fraction, maybe $50,000 a day. All I saw was like boats on it and some like canines. It would just look like a token to me. I don't think they're going to find anything there. And personally, I believe that the Mustang left at that area was a red herring. So if I'm looking at this, you know, the attorney said he went to the storage unit to basically save money. I do not believe that. I don't buy it for a second. I think there's something else going here. I think it was a lie. And I'll show you why I think it's a lie and making some potential connections here. This may be a little far-fetched. This may be a bit reaching, but hey, that's entertainment. And I fully admit that. So these are all just rumors. Take it with a grain of salt. But this is actually verifiable information. So we have on this Instagram right here, this is Gabs Petitio's Instagram. You can go and check this out yourself. We have on this date, August 19th. Keep that date in mind. August 19th. This is the same time that she was, according to the lawyer, staying in a hotel. She was staying in a hotel. Let me just read this. Crass 24/7. If it wasn't about Gabby's death, why avoid the conversation in front of her kids? Exactly. We broke up isn't enough. They were afraid the kids would repeat it. Exactly. I'm not buying Cassie's story fully. You know, this idea that they didn't talk at the campground because of the kids, I just think that's kind of an excuse. I do think they talk. And what Cassie's saying is that they didn't talk about Gabby Petitio. But you know what? I still think that ABC interview has a lot of weight to it. I think she was trying to be a little bit deceitful there because it did say at the end of the day, we didn't talk. But, you know, I believe in redemption arcs here. I believe, you know, human beings all deserve second chances. And at least she's trying to come clean and set the record straight. So, you know, kudos to Cassie. I may just set my videos about where she lied on private after this because I do feel a little bit bad. I want to encourage the Laundries to speak up and, you know, put the pressure on them. And when they do start speaking up, then we can start seeing them in a different light. So thank you so much for that comment and that super chat, Crass. We have Gabs Petitio right now on August 19th. Again, so there's been a lot of allegations floating around about this from the start. This may be old news to a lot of people, but this Instagram post didn't include a location tag, whereas all of her location posts before this included, all of her Instagram posts before this included location tags. The last two posts, this one and the August 25th one, the Halloween one, which is like infamous now, didn't include location posts. And this one didn't either. And it's very, very telling because now, according to the lawyer's statement, we learned that she was in a hotel. She was in a hotel when she made this post. This post is very clearly her in a van with Brian, what looks like to be Brian, in front of her, and she's leaning her legs against it. But she made this post while she was in a hotel. And if we want to read this post, I think it's very like spooky and a little bit creepy because it sounds like Brian wrote it, honestly. Almost immediately after telling Bizarre Design how happy it made me to see that people were truly respectful at the park, I watched some guy leave his processed, pre-packaged plastic conglomerate of lunch garbage on the picnic table. So as we all know, Brian Laundrie was a big greenie, and it just sounds like something that he would write. So, but what's also very, very telling about this, and this is very spooky to me in my opinion, we have this post is actually old, and we have proof of the fact that this post was old because if we pull up Brian Laundrie's story, we have a different story. So this is Brian Laundrie's story. Again, you can verify this information yourself on his Instagram. He actually has this on his story for Utah that 9 weeks ago, he posted the exact same photo. So if we want to look at this a little bit closer here, 9 weeks ago was around August 3rd. And obviously the one on Gabby Petitio's post was posted on August, let me just get my dates right. August 19th, I believe. Let me just make sure I got that right. August 19th, yes. So there is a discrepancy there. The one that Gabby wrote on her Instagram was posted 2 weeks after the story was. So again, she's posting an old photo. So what was she trying to do there? Was she trying to create an alibi? Was she trying to make it seem like everything was fine in their relationship? Rebecca wrote in the comments that potentially the storage unit was for them to actually separate during this time because they did just get in that traffic stop. So maybe Brian was so livid at her that after that traffic stop, he called his family and he went to go back home to Florida. That is a theory that's floating around right now. Maybe they just needed to be separated. During this time at the Fairview Inn where she was staying, she actually got Uber Eats delivered to her by Joseph Petito during this time. So maybe they had a phone call and said, Dad, I'm really hungry and I'm upset. And so maybe that's why he bought her food. So again, the storage unit is a very bizarre story. I mean, I think I just set it up that this potentially was a lie by the attorneys to get ahead of the story. And what was the real reason? Well, we're speculating right now. A second speculation of the storage unit is potentially more sinister. So as we all know, this has been debunked, quote unquote. The Utah police, the Moab police said the newlywed murders and the murder of Gabby Petito are not related. That's what they said. But I think we need to take a closer look at that because the newlywed murders happened on, there was the traffic stop on August 12th. The last time the newlyweds were seen alive was at a bar August 13th, which is just a 7-minute walk away from where Brian was sleeping at a rundown motel. And in the body cam footage, Brian was like, I don't want to stay in this motel. I want to go camping instead. But they forced him to go to this really seedy motel. I believe he didn't stay there. I believe he actually went go camping that night. The night after, August 13th, the newlyweds go and they complain about a guy at their campsite who was acting creepy. I think that person was Brian. I think, Moab, Utah doesn't have a lot of murders. Brian shows up, there's 3. Brian was also reading a book called, I forget what the book was called, but it was about 3 people who were murdered. So it was Brian trying to reenact this entire book that he was reading. Very, very interesting. And what is also linking to this is that I believe that this flight back home was basically to get his keys. That's what I think. This is a rumor, but the Moab murders, if we dig a little deeper, we can see right here that this is what the dad said. About a week ago, some locals brought him a set of keys recovered from the crime scene of the murders. Schultz told the Discreet News the keys had membership tags on it that should make identifying the owner easily. They were closer to the road and pushed in the mud a bit. They looked a little weathered, like they might have been sitting there a month. Now, which is about how long those keys would have been sitting there, Schultz said. They didn't look like they'd been sitting there for 3 years and that they didn't look like they'd been sitting there one day. Schultz says he took the keys to the sheriff's office. He has been told if they are completely unrelated to his daughter's murder. He hasn't been told if they are completely unrelated to his daughter's murder or if they are being used to identify a possible suspect. He doesn't know if the department even still has them or if they've been turned over to the FBI. Quote, I don't know what those keys be back as the FBI doesn't call me back and say, good job, Dad at the park, you found Joe Blow, he said. My point is, those keys could have been from the actual murderer. So when I found out this, I said, is it possible that Brian Laundrie went back to Florida to get an extra set of keys after he committed these crimes? Is it related? That is a big theory that's floating around. Again, just a rumor, but I would love to know if those keys actually fit into the van. Pretty crazy stuff. And then my last So another thing was that, the Good Morning America interview with Cassie basically said, I don't know if they are, if they are affiliated in the murder, if the Laundrie family are aiding and abetting a murderer right now. And it could possibly be another theory right now is that it could possibly be that this was a premeditated murder and that the Laundries could have been helping their son with that. So I did a little poll here on my Twitter, and I asked, does Brian Laundrie emptying out the storage locker back in Florida show potential for meditated murder? And 66.7%, close to 66.6% of you answered yes. So, that is a big theory floating around there that he was actually trying to get rid of evidence. And this story of the storage locker actually appeared first on September 15th. And we actually have some more information about the locker. So the mother is Schmidt is asking, she's also questioning Brian's trip back to Florida in August to help his father move their belongings out of a storage unit. Brian left Gabby in the Fairfield Inn in Salt Lake City and flew back home to Florida from August 17th to the 23rd to help his father empty out a storage unit where he and Gabby had their things. According to Schmidt, Brian's father offered to let them keep their belongings at his house so they wouldn't have to pay for the storage unit. He left Gabby at the hotel so that she, understandably, wouldn't be alone in the van. Brian then flew back to Utah and they left the hotel together on August 24th. Schmidt now wonders why it was necessary to move Gabby's things during their road trip and what became of her stuff. She asked, where are her things? Yeah, so basically no one knows where her things are. And that's been something that, has been brought up in the past. They don't know where her things are. So again, are they trying to hide her things? Are they trying to, make it so that they can get away with certain things? Are they trying to hide a lot of things? The Laundries are very, very shady. There was an interview today with Dr. Phil. It was on my live stream. Again, guys, if you want to see all my live streams, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. But the Dr. Phil show basically says, that they are very shady because they get no responses from the Laundries. So let's just get right into that. Very, very interesting.
Well, the van had to get there somehow.
That's right.
The van got there, and whatever happened with his parents after that, I don't know. But
We can only speculate. We don't know.
yeah, I honestly don't know. And to be honest with you, they probably wouldn't tell the truth to begin with. So whatever.
Joe and Nicole both called Roberta asking if...
Not just
Called and text.
Roberta. I need the phone number I can get for that family. There were a couple numbers for the
Police
mom.
officers called her. Detectives called her.
But you all called.
Yes.
Oh, we
You
called.
called, you called, you called?
I can't tell you how many times.
She called.
She-
You called
he,
and you
he
called.
called.
And what did you get?
No response.
Voicemails.
Nothing. Voicemails.
And then I would send texts on top of that.
No response.
One of the texts, we're going to call the police, right? Just letting you know, because we have no idea. No responses. No, a normal parent, when you text someone that they're going to call the cops because you can't find your child, they would reply.
Nothing.
No response, no nothing.
So we don't know what they emptied out of that storage locker. The mother, the biological mother, basically told the Daily Mail they have not gotten any of the stuff that was emptied out of that storage locker. So again, guys, just listening to that Dr. Phil clip, it sounds to me like they're trying to grow out your hair and I'll donate $5K. Thank you, C. Adams. I love a good joke here and there. The storage unit basically could have been, they're trying to get rid of evidence. They probably had something in there and they just maybe got rid of everything in there and they're never getting their stuff back. The dirty Laundries are basically lawyering up and not really taking any calls from anybody right now. Just so on the topic of lawyering up, here's
We
another
actually
clip.
didn't
Well,
know
at
the
that
van
point,
was
yeah.
in Florida at the time when we contacted her. I was just worried I hadn't heard from her. So
You didn't even know
I
the
didn't
van
know
was
about
back.
the van until the
We
11th.
just wanted. We actually thought they were both missing at that point in time when we were calling them.
I was worried about both of them.
And when did you learn the van was back?
The night of the 11th, when I reported her missing, the detective came to my door and let me know that the van was in Florida.
That's when you said you knew bad news.
Well, it was a combination of that
and that he requested to speak to a lawyer and wouldn't speak to the
Yeah.
police department.
Lawyered up, no cops.
Correct.
Well, to be honest, we don't even know if he did that. That's what the parents did. That's what they did. They had papers at the door, handed it to whoever knocked on the door, talked to the attorney.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not how you parent.
You think they owed you an answer?
I think they owe me more than that. You know, I'm a dad. I make my kids stand up for their decisions. You know, if they make a mistake, I'll help you. I'll walk you through that path, but you're gonna own up to your mistake, because that's what a parent does, not what they're doing. I'm sorry.
Do you think they know where he is now?
He didn't answer that question. So it's very, very interesting, because to me, it sounds like the Dirty Laundries were trying to give their son a head start. And in a lot of ways, they're trying to help him get away with murder. Maybe the storage locker, you know, everybody's scratching their heads right now, trying to come up with a bit different theories. But what we do know is that Gabby didn't come home with her fiance, Brian Laundrie, on September 1st. They did nothing. They didn't report her missing. It was actually Joseph Petitio who came and dialed the police on them twice on September 10th. He didn't physically show up. They were in New York, but they were curious to know what happened to their daughter. They haven't heard from their daughter on since August 25th. The daughter sent 2 text messages that they don't believe were hers. There was one text message on the 27th, I believe, about how they need to check in Stan. And then on August 29th, there was another one about no cell service in Yosemite. The mother, Schmidt, the biological mom, just had this mother instinct that that was not her daughter. And then they didn't hear from her since then. And then eventually on September 10th, they really started worrying about the Laundries, started calling the cops on them. September 11th, the missing persons report was filed on September 11th by her biological mother. And again, folks, the missing persons report had that on the description was that she owned a Capital One bank card. So again, Brian Laundrie is getting an indictment for a Capital One bank card. So, you know, there is a correlation there that potentially he was walking around using Gabby Petitio's bank card, although that hasn't been confirmed, but is pretty much common knowledge that indeed he was basically, you know, using her card while she was, you know, like out in the field somewhere, you know, no idea where she is. And, you know, that is pretty much like, you know, they were helping him get a head start. So again, if you just tuned in here, we just discussed that Brian Laundrie went to the Florida Reserve on September 13th. I often reported here that it was September 14th, but the parents are backtracking and saying that was actually September 13th. And the reason for that is because there are images of the Mustang in their driveway on September 15th. So if he was gone September 14th and the Mustang was in the Florida Reserve for 2 days, how is it that the Mustang was in your driveway on September 15th? Well, it's because they said that it was a mistake. He actually left September 13th. So again, guys, he had from around September 1st to September 13th to basically get a head start on everything. And in my opinion, it looks like the Laundries were trying to get him time to basically go away and, you know, go on and get away. You know, a lot of people say he's in the Appalachian Trail. This week, we had 2 sightings of Brian Laundrie on the Appalachian Trail, one in North Carolina, and not more than 4.5 hours southeast from that, we had a second sighting by another hiker. He was a software engineer. Both of these stories corroborate that he was driving a white truck that looked like a Ford F-150. And, you know, the hiker has some very compelling evidence because, again, it does add up. On August 28th, Brian Laundrie was picked up by 2 drivers as he was hitchhiking in the Jackson, Utah area. And in those moments, he was actually trying to build an alibi. He was talking about how he was camping at Snake River and how he got in a fight with his girlfriend. And you can see some correlations in with the hiker. So again, I have another interview that I haven't played on my channel here with the hiker. And I just find this information very, very interesting. So let's get into that.
So I listened to the 911 call, Dennis, so I kind of know the basics of what you told police. Okay. How confident are you, I mean, that seeing pictures of Brian Laundrie, that it was definitely him?
Oh, I'll tell you what, you know, when I first saw him, I didn't know what he looked like. And, you know, I drove about 15 minutes down the road because the guy was just acting weird. I didn't want to be in that area any longer. And when I opened up that picture, and the first picture I saw of him was a portrait view, And the thing that stood out was that black mustache and beard, and really tight, really thick. And I saw that first profile or portrait view of him. I knew absolutely. After I called the FBI, I was looking again, and I saw a profile view of him. And of course, he was sitting in his truck, so most of the time I saw the profile view of him. And my heart, my chest, because it was just like that was the guy I was talking to 15 minutes ago. I mean, so I'm so confident it's not funny. I mean, I'm just 100% confident in it.
Did he have any facial hair?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He had that black beard and black mustache, very short cut, very thick. He had something tied around his head, so I couldn't see at that time if he had any hair or not. I know from the pictures he's typically bald, but
describe, was it a white pickup truck? Is that what you said on the 911 call?
yeah, I made it as I wasn't trying to figure out what kind of truck it was at the time. I left it, who I was talking to, and but I told the FBI when I called the FBI that it was a Ford F-150, a white. It was 12:30 at night. We were on a dark, secluded road. I said it could have been some other light color, but I said a white Ford F-150.
Did you happen to see the tag? Was it a certain state?
No, I wasn't looking, and like I said, at that time the guy was just weird, and I was just trying to get out of there.
Do you think? Is the FBI taking it seriously? Do you have any indication?
I got a call. I had called FBI 3 times and 911 3 times. Last night, about 7 o'clock, the North Carolina law enforcement called me back. They said that they had responded to my 911 call at about 2:30 and went out to the site and rode the area for about 50 minutes. They stopped one person. They checked his license, but it wasn't him. And they said, the gentleman I spoke with said that yesterday he had been on the phone with the FBI twice, and they've offered to arrange a meeting with the FBI and myself tomorrow or Wednesday or whatever to talk directly to them.
Okay, so you think you'll be meeting with the FBI?
Yeah, I probably will. I'll probably probably on Wednesday.
And you're an engineer. Is that what you do by trade? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm a licensed professional engineer.
Okay, so you. It sounds like you have a good eye for stuff.
Yeah, eye for detail. Yeah, absolutely.
And you're still out hiking now?
Yeah. I'm trying to get to. I had a 17-mile hike today to get to Clingman Dome and parking lot where I can get a ride into town.
Hey, so that is going to bring me to my final theory about the storage locker, was that maybe it was just all one big distraction to distract us from the recent Brian Laundrie sightings. That was my final theory. Maybe the lawyer was basically doing all this smoke and mirrors today because he doesn't want his client Brian Laundrie to be found. So the storage locker is basically all distracting everybody on the case right now, has everybody scratching their heads. He released the Mustang statement where, the dates are wrong and that Brian Laundrie was actually went hiking the last time the Laundrie family saw him was September 13th. I'm getting a ton of super chats. Thank you so much, Sabian Pagan. I saw a guy crack a joke about looks right here. Thank you so much, C. Adams. I got one from Mystic at the Crossroads. I really, really hope that the Laundrie family does get charged. Violino Girl, wow, $20. Again, guys, I will be contributing to the Gabby Petitio Foundation.org. So thank you so much for all your contributions on this super chat. I really wasn't expecting any of that. So thank you so much. So do I think the Laundrie family should be charged 100% if they do get caught aiding and abetting? So aiding and abetting could mean that they, scrubbed the van clean, which by the way, looked like a very clean van when the FBI seized it. If they did help their son run, if they did plant that red herring, if they did actually buy him a burner phone. So something else I wanted to point out right now about the lawyer is that when he first released a statement about the burner phone was said to be purchased on September 14th. I look on the Daily Mail and what I see is that oh, Brian Laundrie purchases a phone September 14th. The lawyer actually retracted that statement. Again, these timelines are just crazy. He said that was a typo. It was actually September 4th. So I get a lot of people on my Twitter being like, hey, it's September 14th. Look at the Daily Mail article. No. The lawyer got it wrong again. The timeline keeps messing up. September 4th was the time that the phone was purchased. The phone was purchased by Brian Laundrie and his mother at an AT&T in Northport, Florida. The FBI has seized that surveillance footage. The FBI has also seized that surveillance footage from the Fort DeSoto campgrounds. So that could potentially be why Cassie, the attorney, released that statement about Cassie being also at the Fort DeSoto campgrounds, because it could have been in that footage that they actually saw Cassie enter as well. And they're, again, just trying to get ahead of the story. Again, folks, it's almost like the opposite for the lawyer. He remembers more as time goes on. He keeps retracting his statements. It's very, very slimy. It's very suspicious. I don't believe anything this guy says. I think there's something behind everything he says. I think the Laundries are dirty. And, I really do hope that if they do get fined for aiding and abetting their son, that they are on the hook for all the costs of the search, and they also get charges. It's just awful what they've done. They're not cooperating with the police. If it weren't for Red, White, and Bethune releasing that van footage, which is a very creepy watch, we would still be looking for Gabby Petitio's body, and precious evidence would be decomposing with her body. So the fact that we had to go through those lengths with social media to basically find her body is just absolutely crazy. And even now with the FBI search, this mad manhunt all over the Appalachian Trail, all of this could have been narrowed down if the Laundries just spoke. So again, Cassie coming out of the woodwork, basically talking to all the protesters. We love that. We need more of that. We need also the dirty Laundries to do that. On this channel, we feature the drones. Just anything to get them to talk. Anything to just have them just talk and tell us what is going on. I'm just going to get to the Violino girl, $20. The Instagram account. Okay, I really hate to be the bearer of bad news here. Thank you so much for your super chat, but I have to say, I don't believe that he is active on Instagram. I do not believe it. Why don't I believe it? Because if you are a private account and you request somebody to follow, and you get followed, you approve that request, and let's just say later that they block you, it turns out that you will lose that follower. So I don't believe that he's unfollowing people. I believe people are blocking him. No one wants to be friends with a guy that potentially murdered his girlfriend. Yeah, I hope they find him, Pines Pakingan. Thank you so much for that super chat. I hope they find him too. That concludes my live stream. Thank you so much, Kale Lee. I really, really appreciate it. Again, if you want to catch all my live streams, please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and you can see all my live streams as we go on. I like to keep my live streams really fresh and robust and have a story and take you through all my theories. So I really appreciate you guys being here. Unfortunately, they only can last maximum an hour, or 45 minutes is a good time length. So if you guys are new here, you can always just watch it back, press rewind. So why didn't the kids ask questions when they were on the trip? Exactly. So Cassie in that interview actually said that the kids found out their aunt, whom they loved, who they called Aunt Gabby, was actually deceased because of the protesters. She basically came out on the lawn and said the protesters were the ones to break the news that their Aunt Gabby has been deceased. Thanks to the protesters, the kids were scared. That's the reason why Cassie actually was motivated to go out on her lawn, was for that reason, because she wanted to be the one to break it to her kids. Unfortunately, the protesters were the ones to, break that to her kids. She wanted to break it when everything was said and done and all the case was closed. That's when she wanted to break the news to the kids. But, we saw the postcards and everything. And, Gabby was a very, very sweet aunt to those kids. And it's just so tragic that that's the way it came out. Hashtag justice for Gabby, what I really want to do is spread information. Again, so we're on the topic of Brian Laundrie sightings. Let me just pull up a few identifying factors, because I feel like I should really do this every channel. If you have any tips, please submit them to fbi.gov/Petito. Lisa Chapman and Dog the Bounty Hunter are still on the case, but right now they're actually wanting the case to calm down a bit because there was a huge frenzy about a week ago of all these sightings, and I covered them a lot on this channel. They're waiting for that to calm down a bit so they can sort through the real ones, but these are what you should be looking out for. So he does have 2 identifiable tattoos on his hand. Right. This is with Gabby and him. And then we also have 2 here. Very, very interesting that in his photo, he's wearing an Appalachian Trails shirt, and that's where he was actually sighted just recently. 2 sightings of him, in fact, on that Appalachian Trail area in what looked like to be a Ford F-150 truck. So we can see that these are 2 tattoos that are identifiable. We also have very, very unique way to walk, which is out-toed, an out-toed walk. So let me just pull that up real fast. This is his out-toed walk. So if you see someone like that looks like Brian Laundrie, I think we all know what he looks like. I put him all over my channel. He's a bald guy with a beard. Justice for Gabby. Fly high, sweet girl. We won't forget you. Rebecca Beckaloo. Oh, you did not have to do that, Rebecca Beckaloo. Thank you so much. That really brings my channel full circle on this, and I will be donating to the GabbyPetitioFoundation.org. Make sure you don't get scammed online, because there are a lot of scammers out there trying to pretend that they're the GabbyPetitioFoundation.org, but they're not. So I will be donating. Thank you so much to all those contributions. So this is his walk. Again, guys, I just want him to be found. I think Cassie said the same thing. I just want him to be found. I just want the story to be done, deal, closed, and we can get some sort of justice for Gabby. What a tragic story. A love story gone bad. I think it really touched everybody around here, and her life was not in vain. We are sitting here on YouTube discussing this case, and a tragedy kind of brought us all together and got us talking about a lot of different issues with this case that we wouldn't normally talk about. So again, her life wasn't in vain. She was a beautiful, creative spirit, and she'll forever be remembered. I will never forget Gabby, for sure. I mean, this story really tore at my heartstrings personally, and just, covering the story and finding out all the details. And I really feel like she is like a friend to me right now. So again, just trying to bring justice for Gabby right now. And I really, really appreciate you guys all just hanging out with me right here. I love that. New to your channel. Thanks for what you do. Can we please see the mountain tattoo? It has X marks on the spot. Ooh, very interesting. There was rumors that this tattoo was a henna tattoo, but we actually got an interview with the tattoo artist, and it's real. So he's a penguin. Is he living in the storage? Yeah, that was another theory that was floating around. Is he living in the storage? I would love to see what that storage is. Joseph, you're amazing. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Luana. Thank you so much, Trisha Bryson. And thank you so much, Rebecca Beckaloo. Guys, unbelievable what you guys are doing here. So we do have a couple X's on the mountain. So it's honestly been really great for everybody to just come here and hang out. I'm going to have to conclude this stream and take my dog out for a walk. But it's been awesome. Again, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Thank you so much, Angelina, Good Vibes, Kimberly, Patty G, all you guys. Really appreciate every single buddy here. Hashtag justice for Gabby. And until next time, guys, you never know when I'm going to broadcast next. So please make sure you're subscribed and ring the bell. And on this channel, we like to build each other up and not put each other down. So thank you so much for being so positive and creating a safe space for all of us to discuss our theories. And big shout out to my mods for keeping everybody in check. But you guys have been really awesome tonight. And I don't want to leave you guys, but I do have to walk my little puppy, who is sitting right here. She is having a big nap because I made her walk for an hour today. She is having a nap, but she is a little bit camera shy today. She looks like she's dying. Say hi to the 7,000 people. All right. That concludes my live stream, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you. Bye.